Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the ATN Weekly News Roundup. I am Favor Aham, bringing you the major developments that shaped global politics, the African continent and Nigeria, beginning with the headlines. Grand jury declines to indict Letitia James after earlier case collapse. Netflix moves to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery in an $83 billion deal. Russia announces capture of Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine. Nigeria confirms deployment of jets and troops to Benin to stop a coup attempt. Trump administration threatens to withdraw food assistance funds from 21 states. Putin alleges steady fuel supply to India as both nations realign defense cooperation. Ban Ki-moon says Africa holds solutions to global crisis. Nigerian captain William Troost-Ekong retires from international football ahead of AFCON. Now the news in detail. Across the United States, a federal grand jury in Virginia declined to indict New York Attorney General Letitia James, closing the chapter on a politically charged case that had already unraveled earlier in the week. The decision followed the judge's ruling that dismissed the previous case after finding that the special prosecutor appointed by President Donald Trump had not been legally installed. James, who had successfully pursued civil fraud charges against Trump before his return to office, described the accusations that she committed bank fraud and issued false statements as a politically engineered response to her prior victories. Meanwhile, the entertainment world faced a seismic shift as Netflix reached an agreement to purchase Warner Bros. Discovery in an $82.7 billion deal. The acquisition promised to reshape Hollywood's balance of power, giving Netflix control of heavyweight properties including Warner Bros. Studios, HBO, and an expansive library stretching from Friends to The Big Bang Theory. Analysts say the deal signaled the end of the traditional studio era, consolidating Netflix's dominance in global streaming and content production. On the battlefield in Eastern Europe, Russia declared that its forces had captured the Ukrainian city of Pokrovsk, a vital transportation and logistics hub that had endured nearly 2 years of sustained fighting. Moscow's announcement came through a telegram update attributed to Chief of Staff Valery Gerasimov, who also reported the fall of Vovchansk in the Kharkiv region. The briefing, delivered by President Vladimir Putin during his visit to a frontline command center, underscored Russia's push to consolidate control over the Donetsk region, one of the territories it claimed to have annexed. In Washington, tensions between the federal government and state administrations intensified after U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins warned she would withhold food assistance funds from 21 states. Those states, along with the District of Columbia, had resisted a federal order demanding personal data on recipients of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. With more than 41 million Americans relying on the program as of 2024, critics argued that the administration's insistence on collecting identifying information risked politicizing a vital welfare lifeline. Also in global diplomacy, Russian President Vladimir Putin pledged uninterrupted fuel shipments to India during a summit in New Delhi, reaffirming Moscow's deepening energy partnership with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The two leaders described their updated framework for defense cooperation as an effort to align with India's push for greater technological self-reliance. The agreement arrived despite mounting U.S. pressure aimed at isolating Russia from major economies. Across Africa, reflections on the continent's role in shaping global solutions took center stage at the Imo State Economic Summit. Former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon told attendees that Africa possessed the talent, resources, and demographic energy required to drive progress on climate resilience and sustainable development. He spoke movingly about past hardships on the continent and drew parallels with Korea's journey from conflict to recovery, urging African leaders to deepen partnerships that unlock economic potential. Back in West Africa, Nigeria confirmed that its armed forces had deployed fighter jets and ground troops to neighboring Benin after authorities in Cotonou requested emergency assistance to disrupt a coup attempt. President Bola Tinubu's office said the intervention followed two formal appeals from Benin's President Patrice Talon, including a request for immediate air support. The swift deployment underscored Abuja's determination to prevent further instability in a region already strained by recent coups. Nigeria's sports community also witnessed a major development as Super Eagles captain William Troost-Ekong announced his retirement from international football only weeks before the 2025 African Cup of Nations. Although included in the preliminary 55-man squad, he said he chose to step away after an international career that began with a call from the late Stephen Keshi in 2015. Troost-Ekong reflected on his journey, noting that Keshi's early faith in him sparked a commitment to serve Nigeria with pride across 83 caps for the country. Now that is it for this week's news roundup. Join us again next weekend for the top stories shaping the world, Africa, and Nigeria. I am Favor Aham. Thank you for watching.